What's up, everybody? It's Troy Cartwright. Welcome back to another episode of 10 Year Town. Before we get started, I've got a quick favor to ask of you. If you haven't already, make sure you're subscribed on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube, wherever you like to listen. It helps us out a ton, and we appreciate you. Thanks. Today's guest is Bear Rinehart. Bear is a Grammy-nominated songwriter and artist. You know him as the frontman and co-founder of the band Need to Breathe, and from his solo project, Wilder Woods. I learned so much from this episode about his journey through the music industry and what it takes to build a lifelong career. I know you guys will learn a lot too, so without further ado, here he is, Bear Rinehart. Well, dude, thank you so much for being here.
Of course, man. Thanks for having me.
Well, I always start this thing off with the same question, which is how long have you been in town?
7 years.
7 years?
Yep.
Where from?
Charleston, South Carolina.
Oh, wow. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Did you grow up there? Or?
No, I grew up in Seneca, which is like Clemson University, other side of the state.
Okay, is that like foothills?
Yeah.
Okay.
Very different than Charleston.
Yeah.
It's like a different country, even though it's not that far away.
Man, the foothills is like, it's just different, bro.
It's redneck,
like,
dude.
Yeah,
it's
like the people are like I feel like they know something I don't.
I don't know about that.
Well, I guess I feel like if the world ended, like they would be fine.
I think a lot of them would be fine.
Yeah. How did you? Did you like go to school or start playing in Charleston? Like, how did you end up on that?
No, we went. My wife wanted to go to nursing school.
Okay.
The band Need to Breathe had been around since I was in college at Furman.
Okay, is that what? So y'all started in college?
Yeah. So like that was like 99.
Okay.
Maybe. So when we got out and we were like, we're gonna pursue it.
Yeah.
She was not happy with living in Seneca where we lived.
Yeah.
was where I grew up, you know.
Yeah.
And I was gone all the time. And so she was like, I want to go to nursing school. Like so we picked, it was like Nashville, Atlanta, or Charleston.
Gotcha.
And at the time, like the band was really anti-Nashville. Not like like we had a lot of friends here and loved it, but the idea of moving the band to it was just like
seemed wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is a long time ago. This is like before music kind of had spread out.
Well, I mean, I moved here 8 years ago from Texas, and even then it was still kind of like, oh, you're moving to Nashville?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like now I feel like it's a little more.
like then all the records sounded the same. You could definitely tell like that's a Nashville record.
No doubt.
And that's not the case anymore at all.
No, it's a lot more open.
But I do think back then it was like, we don't want to get, and also it's like like everybody good was here.
Yeah.
And I felt like it like wrecked bands coming here too soon.
Dude,
because then they compare
totally.
themselves to somebody else, and it's like, oh, I don't want to do that. You know, now you're worried about what you look like and all this stuff. It's like we didn't know any better.
Yeah, dude, it's like it's underrated sometimes to be the bigger fish in the smaller pond for a while, just to grow.
Ignorance is like the thing,
no doubt.
Especially with a band. For me, it was like, and we had enough wisdom to know it at the time. We're like, we're not very good.
Got it from somewhere.
If we get around these people, they're gonna know. You know, So you just. Anyway, we were figuring it out, which was cool.
Yeah. How did you? Okay, so you started the band in college. Like, what was the, kind of like the mechanisms for getting started? Like, how did it work? Did you start playing shows?
Yeah. There was a club there called the Handlebar in Greenville. It was like a 500-seat club, whatever. They'd have a night where, we played coffee houses and whatever we could play, you know.
Right.
But that became like the thing. It's like there was this band called Jump Little Children. It was on Atlantic Records at the time, and they were like a big deal to me. I thought they were like huge. They were selling 500 tickets
for sure.
And so they were playing this place, and they would have a night where they'd have 4 or 5 bands, and you had to say which band you came for.
Yeah.
You know
They did the tally mark.
So we just started that way. We're like, we're going to promote, like this as hard as we can. We made our own posters and did that whole thing. Yeah. And then we got a manager who was from Nashville, actually.
Okay.
And he was like, you should try to be the biggest band within 5 hours of your house.
Yeah.
So we just drew to a circle and started calling the clubs and like.
Did y'all have like a demo or something? Or
we made a bass player had gone to Full Sail And
Oh,
was
yeah.
like, which is, you know, good and bad. But he came back and was like, we can make demos now. So we're making these awful things ourselves. But we sold, before we got signed, I think we'd sold like 15,000 copies of these like EPs we were making.
Yeah.
So like whatever the 4 newest best songs we had at the time, like go on the EP. And then we just kind of keep rolling.
That's sick. Okay. So at some point, your wife gets into nursing school. So you moved, does everybody move to Charleston or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We moved the studio there and everything, which was really cool for a long time. It was a sweet, I mean, it was before anybody in the band had kids, and that's a different dynamic,
different
of course.
time.
Yeah.
So how did it, I guess, you know, my recollection from what I know about, the band was like, y'all sort of just grew from there. And then y'all were just touring a ton and like,
Yeah. I mean, we were doing, I don't know, 200 shows a year for like 7 years in a row, something like that. It was crazy. Yeah. It was intense.
At
but
what point?
We got a manager here. I mean, we did a showcase at like 12th and Porter, I remember. It's like, you know, 100 people in there.
Yeah.
You know? And we were just an odd band because we knew certain things we didn't want to be. We just didn't know exactly what we wanted to be, you know? So like a lot of Christian labels came out to see us early on, and we were just didn't want to do that. So it was like this weird 2-year period of time where we had these record deal offers that we didn't want.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like,
totally.
we're just going to wait until.
But good on you guys for like kind of knowing.
Yeah. So I feel like we just played a ton during that time and tried to like, you know, make the songs better. And eventually Atlantic signed us back then. Yeah.
Wow. And did you guys already have, like a producer and stuff lined up, or did they kind of help facilitate?
No, they helped. Yeah. I mean, I say helped. It was a mess. It was like,
it always is.
Yeah.
You know,
it's just back then budgets were different, and it was very like, you know, just, well, tell us what records you like. You know, at the time it was like, well, we like Brendan O'Brien. He'd done like the Black Crowes records.
Yeah,
and,
of course.
You know, Pearl Jam, all this stuff.
Yeah.
And we were like, and they're like, well, you can't get him, but who else? So I go down the list of like this.
So funny.
It was a comical process. But then we found this guy, Andy Green. He was a great guy, but he had done the Keen records and KT Tunstall and all that stuff, and he just won a Brit for like producer of the year and all this. So right before we go to the studio, he's supposed to come to us. And before we go to the studio, his girlfriend gets pregnant. And he's like, well, I don't know if I can go. So we end up going over there. We think we're going to London to make a record. Right. And we go to Rye, which is like basically a farm that we're on. Yeah. So just, they helped us in the sense of like, we made a record. Yeah. I'm not sure we made very many good decisions with it, but.
Yeah. Well, it's so hard, you know, and like, I don't know, in my experience, like kind of feel like somebody knows something you don't.
Oh, dude.
And you start to feel it, like you're like, this doesn't feel right, but I kind of don't know what to say.
Every night we were in this like on a sheep farm, staying at this studio in England or whatever. And we're like, I don't know, like, I don't think you're supposed to do it like that. You know, like all of us are looking at each other at night, like, is this the way you make a record? It's like, but surely, you know, he's got all these awards and everything. He's made it. It's like, surely he knows how. This must be the way you do it. You know, it's like, I think that like humility, that Southern humility thing, does get in the way a little. You know, when you first start out,
you're just too polite.
Yeah,
you know,
you're just thinking like, well, who am I to say this is not what I want the record to be? You know? And so I think we had to learn that the hard way. And luckily, we were fortunate to like. When we joke that after the first record, we just think that they forgot to call us and like drop us, you know. It was like we cost so little. It was like, well, we'll just see what happens, you know. So we just stuck around and got to make a second or third, and things kind of like caught on after that. Yeah.
What record was it where you were like, oh, okay, this is like
Outsiders was the record. Yeah. Yeah. It was, in town we played Exit In. And I remember just selling it out was like this biggest deal, you know. And then totally. 6 months later, we played Cannery, which was like 1,000 maybe. Yeah. And then we did Ryman like 6 months after that. Wow. So like within a year and a half, maybe it was like
just exploded.
Yeah. And cool that it wasn't like we didn't have that single that most people have. Yeah. We just had a record that people passed around.
Yeah, it was kind of like the whole body of work.
Yeah. It's just like one of those. You know, we kind of had made, that was our third record. We had made a couple, and had gone back in and been like, look, I remember we had a meeting with Atlantic, and we're in the president's office, and he's like, I think you got 7 singles, which is total whatever BS,
Yeah.
And so, and we go, okay, pick 3.
Yeah.
And he's like, what? And I was like, pick 3 because we're not going to cut any of the other ones.
Wow.
I was like, because we're not having 7 singles and we're not making a record that sounds like 10 singles. Like we need an album,
Yeah. Totally.
And it was like, and I remember just like the biggest fight ensued and all this kind of fallout. And of course, we ended up doing that. We just were like, you're not going to get, I think we picked 2 of them actually.
Wow.
And so the record was one of those that people could trust as an album,
Yeah. That's really cool. Well, I'm well versed in like kind of the Nashville way of writing songs and like how it kind of works. Specifically like more in the country music format. Like what was y'all's songwriting process like at the time?
Yeah. I mean, we would me and my brother wrote all the songs early on.
Yeah.
But it would be one of our ideas or the other normally.
Okay.
But we would try, I feel we weren't trying, but we just wouldn't bring the idea totally buttoned up. It was
kind of like the studio.
Yeah, we would bring it in and say like, okay, we got a verse and a chorus. We're not sure what the lyric. We think this is the hook of the song.
Yeah.
It was very much like that. And basically, if the song like fit the band and something magic happened in the studio around it. I mean, so many of the early records, the second verse was like a fake lyric in there until we made the record.
Let's take a quick break here to tell you about our friends, the Graphic Guitar Guys. If you've ever thought about having a custom guitar, whether for merch, a giveaway, or a unique VIP package item, Graphic Guitar Guys makes it simple. They've worked with some of the biggest names in country music, handling everything from the guitar to full color graphics and shipping, and it's all for one easy price. They're also a great option for album pre-sale bundles or fan collectibles. I've worked with Scott and the rest of the team myself, and they really do make the whole process effortless. Check them out at thegraphicguitarguys.com. Now, back to the show. Okay,
Which is weird.
Dude, that's so crazy, but
opposite.
that's really cool.
Yeah.
So, like break that down for me a little bit. So you have this song you wrote on like acoustic or whatever.
Yeah.
And then y'all just literally go into the studio. Would the band know it beforehand? Had y'all like been playing it out or?
Sometimes, yeah. I mean, those days you're in a van, so there's so much of that time to talk about it and play little things that you got.
Yeah.
I think, I missed that about music. It's just all hours of the night you're talking about what you're doing next. And so you can listen to records as references and all that. So I would say we came in there with like tools, knowing what we were trying to do.
Yeah.
But it's so much experimentation of like, what is a band thing? And we weren't good enough. It wasn't like if we said, hey, play this part like this. Like, I don't know if the guy could have done it.
Right.
I could have done it. It was very much like, well, play what you can play in this spot.
But
things need to kind of work as a band. You know what I mean? It needs to be real.
Yeah.
Or else it doesn't really come across. And then, so we let that lead us. So you would end up cutting 30 songs for a record to get down to the 12 or 13.
And like how far, I've always been curious about this. How far, okay, you cut 30 songs. Are you fully mixing out each song or are y'all getting each song?
Pretty far. Maybe not mixes, but I would say the demos or whatever.
Yeah.
We had our own studio in Charleston.
Okay.
And we would spend, months on a record. Months and months of just like, 6 hours on a shaker sound kind of time on a record. Just so like fun, dreaming like kids,
Yeah.
And so we would work on the demo, and a lot of times the demos, the first on Outsiders, I know there was a song called Something Beautiful. It's like was one of the big songs on it.
Yeah.
But I remember we got a big producer to work on the song or whatever, but he basically just kept all the demo.
Really?
Yeah. It was exactly like, we mixed it after. So,
yeah.
But the band felt like this pressure to kind of make what we were going to make by ourselves. And then we brought a producer in to kind of have a bigger vision. Very different than it is now.
Yeah, but it's pretty cool though.
Yeah, it is cool. And we're trying, honestly, like now I'm working on a new Need to Breathe record right now.
Yeah.
And we're kind of trying to go back to that.
Yeah. It's, I don't know. It's so interesting. Like the further you go, you kind of start off as a complete amateur and then you get more professional. And then it's like, here's how the professionals do it. You go on and then eventually you get far enough And I feel like the longer you go, the more you're just trying to get back to what it felt like.
Yeah.
When you started.
Well, that's why, like, I mean, I think the fight is always, as a band gets older, they get worse most of the time.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that there's a lot of things that go into it, whether it's, you know, they kind of get rich and happy, basically.
Yeah.
But I think, and also they just don't relate and they're not struggling with the same things and all that, you know, but I don't think it's just, I think there is, you learn a process or whatever. I mean, I felt the same way when I first moved to Nashville and got in these writers rooms, and like, these guys are great.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, whoa, this is amazing. Like, this is so much faster. And we got these, you know.
Right. It's way faster.
Which was amazing. It can be useful to us still. Like, I love it. But it also can skip a bunch of steps for the band, you know?
Yeah.
And so I think that's what the band's trying to do right now, is like, go back to, okay, let's just get the 4 or 5 of us in a room.
Yeah.
And like bang it out. And if they don't work out, we'll just recut them. Like, this no big, you know, like we'll take the time and like do this right.
Yeah.
So I think it's a little bit of unlearning probably there.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, it is. It's really fun now. There's been a couple times recently where they've, like, my publishers like set me up with the whole band. So just the band and me. And I don't know. I just did it recently for the first time, where it was kind of almost comical because it was me in the room, this very small room with like 6 people.
Yeah. Which can be tough. I mean, obviously it's got its own battles.
Yeah, but it was so much fun. I felt very close to the magic.
Yeah.
You know, just because it was very pure, and it's you know, it's exciting. It's like, well, what if it's this and what if it's this? Whereas when it's me and 2 of my buddies that have been doing this for 10 years, it's also great. I love it, but it's a little more like,
totally.
Okay, well, now the second verse has got to go here.
Yeah.
You know,
well, and it has to be, the thing I've found, like, at least, which I like and also dislike, you know, it's not like it's one or the other.
Sure.
But like, you have to simplify, you know, and it's a multi-writer room. People got to everybody's deciding on the lyric, and everybody's got to agree what it means, you know, like whatever. It's saying what this is, you know?
Yeah.
And a lot of the music I like isn't like that. Yeah. You know, it's like, I have no idea what that means, but it makes me feel a thing. And you know, so there's I think a piece of that in the same way with the band, like, you got to make it simple so that when they cut the song, I mean, I know you've had that experience a bunch of times where, you know, you can write a great song, and if they cut it and it's terrible, it's terrible.
There's nothing you can do about it.
It's pretty hard. You lose control of that. So, whereas like when you're working on it as a band, you kind of can feel what it's going to be. It's harder to mess up, kind of like, oh, this is magic when y'all play this, so this is probably the way we're going to cut it.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting, because you kind of almost have all these like runs through the simulator. Yeah, because you've played it.
It has an identity.
Yeah,
it doesn't need to be put on. You know, obviously, a lot of songs they just, you know, they take your demo and then they like make it slightly nicer. You know, that's different.
Or sometimes they make it worse.
All the time. I mean, that's been my, you know, that's coming from where I come from, where you have the control to kind of like work through the production of it and try it again. And that's the craziest thing to me, to get a song back and be like, wow, they really made some poor decisions on
they really ruined
they wrecked this.
Yeah. Wow. So had you always felt like you kind of wanted to do a solo thing?
Yeah. That's a good, I mean, no, I don't think so. So I'll backtrack right there and say probably like 10 years ago or so, I started writing songs that were not so weird they couldn't be need to read songs, but like not in the wheelhouse of what needed
just
to be
something different about it.
Yeah. And I started kind of falling in love with like all this like neo soul kind of.
Yeah.
I don't know what the bridge, maybe it was Bon Iver or something like that. Whatever was the bridge into like James Vincent McMorrow and all these kind of like, I was hearing this stuff. And so I was just starting to write songs that would kind of like fit in that mode.
Yeah.
And the band tried to cut a couple, and it was like our fans just didn't care at all.
Gotcha.
Which I understand why. It's like you think you're getting ice cream and you're getting mashed potatoes, you know. It's like it's so I feel like that started it a little bit. And then I had started to come right here and had met all these guys. I was like, man, it'd be cool to work with that guy. Like, it'd be cool to have these players on it.
Yeah.
Like, it would just be, I just started getting that in the back of my mind. I'm like, man, this would be fun.
Yeah.
So I think a little bit of all those things. And when a band gets bigger, I mean, there was a time when like it was our whole year. Mm-hmm. And now it's like, you can't tour, you know, you probably do 60 shows a year or whatever.
Yeah. You kind of get lost. Like,
you have to kind of like,
and you probably know pretty far in advance.
Yeah, totally.
What it's going to be.
And so I was like, what am I doing when I'm at home? I don't have a job.
Yeah.
And so it was like, I'm either going to be a co-writer or I'm going to do this on, you know, and so when I first moved here, I just started experimenting with both those things, like sign a publishing deal and then to write with other people, but then also kind of started writing the stuff that was like, I wanted to put out.
Yeah. Was there, was there like one day where it just sort of clicked? It's like, oh, okay, I have to do it this way and I need to work with this guy or?
No, not necessarily. I think I kind of had it in the back of my mind I wanted to do. I was waiting to pull the trigger a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'd started writing the songs and demoing them myself, kind of like with not really playing them to anybody.
Yeah.
And then Gabe Simon's guy in town, I wrote with him, and the way he produced the demo, I was like, I think this is kind of what it ought to be.
Yeah.
And he had not, at the time, you know, he had not produced a full record before.
Yeah, yeah.
Like now he's done Noah Kahan, all these people, you know, it's
right.
like, but at the time he was just, even Steve-O, the A&R guy was like, I don't know if you're going to like this guy. He's a lot, you know? And so, but it was one of those days where I went out, I was like, actually, I love this.
Yeah.
And it's scary to me and new, and he's totally different than me in so many ways. It's like, I think this will, anyway, so I think that was a spark for sure for the first record.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Are there 3 or 2?
Yeah, 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cause I was listening through earlier today. I really like it. It's really cool.
Thanks,
it's,
man.
was it kind of scary? Like the first doing it, I could just see it being sort of like, well, I hope people like this or whatever.
What was interesting is like, I knew that the Need to Breathe fans mostly wouldn't like it.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was comforting to me, I think.
Like freeing in a way?
Yeah. I was just like, I don't think I was actually surprised how many of them did.
Yeah.
You know, as opposed to the opposite. I expected it to be like, I don't want that. I mean, I know what I have favorite bands, you know, I don't want to hear their solo.
Yeah,
I understand, you know, I feel like
know.
it's easy to be a fan in that perspective. And you just go like, yeah, this sucks. I don't want them to change everything. I don't want the band to end. I don't want.
Yeah.
So I think I went into it with that expectation. So I didn't have as much of a nervousness. I think obviously we start going out and playing, you know, like, is anybody going to show up tonight? Is this going to be?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, how do you even know? I guess they just guess, like, I guess this size room.
Yeah.
On this day, let's just give it a try.
Yeah. We just start small and then.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's been, but it's changed obviously as we put the records out. You get a feel for like who the audience is and what I want it to be, and there's less pressure now of it making it different. It feels like it's different naturally, just other players and
it's just you and
But it doesn't. I don't feel as much like it has to be, because the band is me too. It's like it's really hard to go like, well, I'm gonna go write this other stuff that I hate the band stuff. I don't, you know.
Right. It's just different.
It's just different.
So when you're saying like when you like the first record, you almost felt like, okay,
it took a left turn.
The band's here, so
time.
I got to go here.
Every time it was like, let's go the opposite way.
Wow.
You know.
I don't know. That sounds so fun though.
It was. I mean, you know, but when I would look back at it, I was like, oh, that's interesting. Like, there's not enough of me, of the sort of honesty on there. I didn't think.
Yeah.
And so that's more, I think, as like the records have gone, I've gotten more comfortable with like putting more of myself on there.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. Like, I've always tried to sort of examine it, like, even though it was Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers versus like the solo records, you know, in hindsight, it's almost kind of hard to tell.
Yeah. Oh, there's no doubt.
You know, but it's still.
Well, and there's periods of the band. That's the thing that's like tricky. It's like, even with a band, you know, you go into it 2 years later and you've got a totally different thought of who the band is.
Yeah.
Right. Even though you've been doing it forever, you still like what you like right now, what you're going through right now is different. And so it's hard to, I think with Petty, it's a good example of just like, you know, he made the band records are not the same.
Well, yeah.
You know,
I mean, the band changed over time, you know, and, but yeah, I could see how, there's a great, like, legendary writer we had on here, Craig Wiseman, and he was just talking about one of the hardest things about being an artist is that you kind of are self-aware.
Yeah.
Unintentionally, you are you.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
you can't, but to create, you're trying to turn it off almost to like connect to the source or whatever, but it just doesn't always.
Yeah, no, I think it's I'm getting better at it, but I do think I mean, it's impossible not to know I think even more what your audience is going to like.
Yeah.
Right. You've done things like I've played thousands of shows with Need to Breathe.
Yeah.
It's like, I feel like I know what that audience likes. And if I write something there, I'm like, that's very difficult not to go like, I'm going to lean into that just because, or I'm actually what's best for this song or what I want to do now. And this is all this difference, can I lean into that?
Yeah.
And I think I'm getting better at that. Cause the truth is like retreading doesn't necessarily work. I'm not saying occasionally it doesn't, but almost never with us, like has a thing, the new thing that works has been different from the thing we did before.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Anytime you try to copy yourself, it's like, it doesn't, people know somehow.
Well, yeah, I mean, you almost become derivative of.
Yeah. It's just not sincere. And I think that's ultimately like, we found that out really early on in our, career. It's just like, you think we're from this small town in South Carolina and we're in Washington all of a sudden, it's like, or whatever. And it's like, they're still connecting to songs that we feel.
Right.
It has nothing to do with the context.
Yeah.
It has everything to do with like, is this honest? Are you wearing this on your sleeve?
Totally.
Because they can react to that. Audiences do have that, does the song connect or whatever? It's like, really, that's what they're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. You're just like, you're putting the emotion out.
Yeah.
And that's somehow like the specificity is like universal.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like it should be, but it is.
Yeah. I mean, I'm like, this is too whatever, but I do think great music, like that new Bon Iver record I was just listening to the other day. It's like, it has moments in there that just, that to me are transcendent.
Yeah.
This, you know what I mean? This feeling of like, this is something otherworldly to me. It's foreign. It makes me feel connected to it makes me feel like the world's bigger than it was the day before. It's like whatever that is. And I think that's what you're trying to do. And there's a million ways to do it. Sometimes it's lyric or music or, there's just so many parts of music, which makes it great.
Oh, dude. It's the best.
But I think that's the thing that you're trying to tap into still.
Yes.
I mean, I was writing this morning and I'm like, it's the same thing. It's like blur my eyes. Like, can I be an 8-year-old kid and just like, does this make the hair on my arm stand up or not? Yeah.
Like, can I see the world that way? But I love the way you said that, like chasing the transcendence, because I think it's, there's a lot of different things you can chase.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And especially, I don't know, it's like we're making art, but it gets, there is the intersection with commerce. So you're like, well, are people going to like this or whatever? And like,
yeah. And I think I think it's very hard for, I know that like I've obviously seen this podcast before and I like, a lot of my friends have been on here.
Yeah.
But when I'm talking to younger writers, there's like a thing to me of like the pressures go, you should know what you define success for yourself or whatever. People say that, right?
Yeah.
Which is a great thing to say because you should decide what that is. What's the goal here?
Yeah.
But it's really hard if, let's say, you decide, like for me, like giving people some vision or some touch or glimpse of the transcendent is the goal. Like, how measurable is that? Like, you know what I mean? It's not all a scoreboard,
Well, it's, but for some reason I was just thinking about this weekend where it's like, you can try a lot of different ways, but ultimately, what you do when you make something is not quantifiable. Like, you can quantify it with a stream count or this record went gold or, we sold this many tickets to a show, but ultimately it's just, do you feel it? And you've probably made a ton of people like feel some emotion that you'll never know.
Yeah. Well, and I can only judge that by like the experiences I've had with other people's music. It's like there's a Springsteen song on Magic. It's like a hidden track called Terry's Song. It's about his bodyguard. And it has the lyrics are, but it's one of those songs where I heard it and I stopped the car and like, you know what I mean? And I would say if you got those 5 or 6 songs that are like, these are the gold to me, the pure inspiration of why I do what I do and how I do it. Yeah. That's one of those songs. It was a hidden track on his record. Nobody knows, like you have to be, and I think that's it. That's really, that's easy for me to say, having a career that's like, I can feed myself and clothe my children.
Sure,
you know
sure.
what I mean? So it does intersect. You have to do a bunch of things. You know, I do a lot of things in this job that I don't love.
Right.
Because you got to make money.
Yeah,
it's
you
like,
got to pay the bills.
That's real. But I do think of like, can you still put that thing at the top of the goals? Can you still go like, man, when I wake up, this is what I'm thinking about.
Yeah. And when you have the chance, you get to do it. Like my favorite days are the ones where it just feels like we kind of got one over on them. I don't know who them is, but like we got to do it.
There's no doubt. You got to be a part of it. It's just, I think that is, that's the goal. It's still, to me, it's why I still make music, really. Because there's a lot, I mean, the longer I've done this, there's a lot of easier ways to make money. You know what I mean? It's just, it's insanity. But I still have that feeling that nothing really compares to me, you know, in my life.
Yeah, that's very cool. Well, I mean, there's so many places we could go here, but I'm curious because you've had such a, you know, all these different like moments in your career. Are there any, like I saw something on Instagram where I think you just played the Ryman recently.
Yeah.
And it was like kind of one of your goals to like do that as a solo artist. And like, can you just, I don't know, talk a little bit about what that meant to you? Or
I mean, I think because I've been doing it a long time and the way the band came up, which was very different, like Ben Rector, a buddy of mine, but he said this to me a long time ago. He's like, he was doing the radio game all of a sudden. I remember him. He's like, Bear, it's crazy. Like these people are playing baseball and these other people are playing a totally different sport.
Yeah.
and he was talking about the fact like we came up with the touring thing was like the thing that was what we were going after.
Yeah.
I mean, you put a single out, but it's like, we're not expecting this single to drive the whole thing. Like what's going to drive it is how great we are live. If we can be that and be consistent. And anyway, so I think with the Wilder Woods thing, it's been similar of that kind of thing of like, if I could grow this into a thing that's like a real live act, you know, a lot of the things that I want to go see, you know.
Yeah, totally.
You know, and so the Ryman that represents that to me. Yeah. It's kind of like if you can get to where you can play that, you know, you feel like, oh, it's a real thing. Yeah. And I also felt like the music would feel great in there. I just felt like this whole, you know, since we started it, just because I'd played it before, I was like, this is going to mesh and feel like the right place to showcase it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think people would be curious about that. And personally, I'm curious about it because I've never played the Ryman. Like, what is it? Because everyone says this is the greatest place in the world to play music.
Yeah.
So what is it? Is it the history of it? Like, does it actually just sound better? Like, what does it feel like?
I mean, I think it's some of that. I think some shows don't sound great in there, to be honest. I think it's, you know, if it's too loud in there, it doesn't feel great.
Dude, I saw Ryan Adams and the Cardinals in there.
Yeah.
And it was a tough show.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that wasn't the Ryman's fault.
Yeah. So that's the same way. I feel like I've seen 20 shows in there and half of them were good. You know, it's like, I don't think it's guaranteed, but I do think, it's similar in a way, like we played Red Rocks with a band and been able to do that 6 or 7 times. And the expectation people have for music, you know, I'm a big believer that the barrier of entry to music is like way too low. Mm-hmm. You know, like, I was telling the band this other day, it's just like, I went to Israel a few years back, and like one of the things that really hit me was like outside the temple, like they have these massive steps. So like when you're walking in, you're supposed to do a prayer at each step, you know? Yeah. And then the door is short, so you have to like humble yourself to go in. Oh wow! And like that hit me in this way for creativity of like, oh, what is the thing that's like sacred about going to see a show, and like what is it if it's a Tuesday night and you're some club and I don't really want to go, but somebody got me like this is a different thing than going like, oh, he's playing the Ryman. I'm circling that. I'm going to drive there. I'm getting a hotel. I'm doing there's an experience that I feel like the audience plays such a huge role in. Yeah. And so to me, the Ryman is that on that sort of level of like, I do think you walk past all that history. I mean, you're in a dressing room where they got the pictures of whatever Johnny Cash and Elvis. It's like, it's hard not to put that pressure on yourself a little bit or feel it. Totally. So I think for the artist and the audience, they both come in there with like this pretty high bar there, and I think that makes the shows better. Yeah. People are bringing the best they got. That's an amazing metaphor, by the way, of walking up the steps. I've never heard that before.
That's like pretty powerful.
It hit me. It just, and I even when I was there, which is funny, probably should have been something else hitting me, but it was that thing of like, there's not a big enough process sometimes. There's not enough effort that like, when I was a kid, when I bought records, I would go to the record store.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's some of what I miss. And like, I try not to be like old man on the lawn yelling.
Yeah, totally.
But I think I'm just trying to find new ways, even now, like as an artist, of like creating like a ritual around releasing music, as opposed to I'm throwing it out. Here it is.
Yeah.
Somebody wants to hear the record, I'll send them a SoundCloud link or whatever. How do you make it have value? Because the value right now is on its face is almost zero. It's a $10 a month Spotify subscription. But how do you create value? And I think one of the ways that you do that is some sort of ritual, and I don't know what that is.
Right. Yeah. I think I don't think I have the answer to that either. I think, I'm just as bad as everybody else. Like, it's hard for me to sit down and listen to an entire record, and I get that. It's just not the way you are programmed right now to look at stuff. It's like, it moves fast, and music kind of is like paired with things in your life. It's like, I'm in the car with the kids, so it's not just like, I'm just like, I'm gonna spend tonight just listening to 2 hours of music. It's not many people do that anymore.
Yeah.
But I do think one thing the band is doing on our next record that I hope is like that is just, we've been discussing this whole idea of like, let's just treat it like a movie. And so this is a piece of thing, of art that it's meant to be experienced all at one time, so that we can't put singles out before it, even though that's the thing to do, like you've got to do that to get the whatever.
Totally.
But let's just let's make a trailer for the record. Yeah. And let's kind of press that for a couple of months leading into it to try to get, basically like at midnight, the whole thing dropped. It's like, just try to make an experience for the people that are willing to go through that process. Yeah. I do think it's a funny, like something, I was playing Dallas a couple of weeks ago, and it's a nice theater. It's Wilder Woods. It's like, and it's full in there, but everybody's kind of seen the band before in Dallas, and there's some big arena or whatever. It's like, and I just kind of felt it when I walked on. Like, these people are just, and they're sitting down, these nice seats. Yeah. And I like kind of got onto the crowd a little, but not like try to do it in the most, I was just like, listen, I think you'll enjoy this more. Yeah. Like, if you could let's just give ourselves to this evening. Like, stand up, put your phone away. I was like, the band is really good. They deserve that kind of respect. Let's just see what happens. Yeah. Let's just like let the possibility of it. And just like the show was like, it turned on a dime of just like, man, it was amazing after that. And so I think that's true about the record thing. It's like, I do think people would enjoy it more. I think we'd get more out of it if it was that way.
I mean, dude, I don't know the answer by any stretch of the imagination. But I am on a similar wavelength, obviously to a different, audience size or whatever, but where I'm just trying to at least give people the opportunity to have that experience. Yeah. Not saying anybody has to. Yeah. But I think here's something deeper if you would like to.
Right. And I think that's a great way to do it. I think that where we've made mistakes in the past, or things that I regret in terms of business decisions like that, were that I took the opportunity away. Yeah. It wasn't like, oh, we did some of these, but it's like, well, we have to do it this way. Everybody, you just like, the next thing you know, like you made 10 decisions. You're like, what? We would never have done this.
Yeah. I think about it. It's that new movie that just came out, Sinner. Yeah. And it's, they have it in IMAX. You don't have to see it in IMAX. Right. But you can. Right. Yeah. And totally. I love that. Yeah. I think the movie industry does such a better job than the music industry of giving people different options, and one of them is inconvenient and hard to do. Right. But you're rewarded for it. Yeah. I
think from my, I don't know, but I feel like I'm around the world a lot. Yeah. Yeah. In the sense of like, I do think people are hungry for that, and you're seeing it play out with different artists. I feel like now, like, that appetite is actually there. Yeah.
Does it feel different playing a show in a different country Like, do different countries' audiences have a different
Yeah, they
vibe?
definitely do. And even within the country, the cities, and it's there's this thing in Europe that I love of especially Ireland, Scotland, these like blue collar kind of places, and their culture and history is sing along and chanty and like fist in the air kind of thing, and it makes that, like, when you step into that kind of, and Need to Breathe has always had that kind of like, four on the floor kind of feeling at times. Totally. And it like is so natural over there that, when we walk off for an encore, they do the soccer chant thing until you come back. It's like, that just wouldn't happen here. It's just not now you get like, when we're playing Knoxville, you're going to get like whatever, the college song thing. Yeah. Yeah. Which happens a little, but I feel like over there, the other thing with us is we just don't go very often. Mm-hmm. So last time we went, which is like last year we went, and it was the first time in 8 years we had gone. Wow. So we were just shocked by like the songs that people yelled from the audience were songs that don't necessarily translate here. Like we wouldn't have gotten yells for. Yeah. You're like, whoa, people are experiencing this in a different, light.
Yeah. I think something I've heard is, I don't know if it's just more of an album thing. People tend to know deeper cuts.
Yeah, for sure.
It's exciting,
Yeah. It is. It's tough to do. It's not, you go over there, you don't make any money, even like at this point, like we're doing a couple thousand tickets and you're just hoping to break even.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that just by virtue of all the...
It's just expensive. Everything in touring is expensive now.
Yeah.
And not to be negative, I think we're just like the music business, and that on the touring side is like in a real tough spot.
Yeah.
For new artists and younger artists. I just don't,
for sure.
It's not the same way as it was when we were coming up, and it's just very difficult. But going up there, it's the same way. It's just even more.
Yeah. Dude, I'm playing in London in August, outside London, and just to get there.
Yeah.
It's going to be tight.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think if I lose a little bit, it's all right. I got to go, but
the first 2 or 3 times we went, we had just signed to Atlantic, and they had like we never took tour support here in America because we were always like, we don't want them to tell us when to tour or when not to. But we had this deal that was like ex-US, for tour support.
Yeah.
And so I think we lost like $120,000 the first time we went.
Oh my God.
It was like $1. It wasn't like we went over there and like got crazy or anything. It's just we couldn't sell enough. We're selling 3 or 4 tickets a night.
Yeah.
And we're losing, and we just did that on the label's dime the first couple of times.
Yeah. There you go.
But it does make it difficult because it does feel like, we have to think here, like, can we make this, like, how long are we going to do this? Like 5 more tours, 10 more, it's like, is this sustainable?
Yeah.
But we enjoy going over there so much. I think every time we go, we're like, man, we should go back. Like, we'll figure it out. Yeah.
When you say, it's harder to tour even in the US than it used to be, what is it just the cost of everything? Do you think there's any specific kind of?
Yeah, I think it's everything. Honestly, I think also the way, I tell this story to people all the time. Like the first time we sold out the Dallas House of Blues, I just remember the numbers randomly.
Yeah, seen a lot of great shows there.
Yeah, and it was like we got paid $5,000.
Yeah,
we sold all the tickets. And we go back next time, we sell it out, same amount of tickets, same ticket price. We make $10,000, and then like a year later, we go out and sell it out again. We make $20,000.
Yeah,
it was all based on the guarantees being higher.
Gotcha.
So like the risk was less for the promoter. And so therefore, like, I've always been like when we first started out, I was always a big fan of like, let's just do a door deal. How about that? Like we lose, you lose. It's like, you give us 85% after a certain amount of expenses or whatever it is, because I just felt like then that's a real number. Yeah. Everything in the industry became this like speculation thing.
Gotcha.
Right?
Yeah.
And now it's that way. And club level is just the worst. It's like if they don't know you're going to sell it out for sure, they're offering pretty low. The deal's not great.
Yeah,
the buses are expensive. It's just it's really. I think it's sad because new artists that are on that level. I felt like when we were doing 500 tickets a night, like we felt like we could make a living at it at the time.
Yeah.
No, we weren't making we were in a van and trailer and whatever, but like we could feed ourselves, Well,
that's what they've always said. It's like, well, if you could sell 500 tickets in, 25 markets, you're set.
In my opinion now, you could not possibly pay yourself if you did 500 tickets in 25 markets.
Yeah.
Now, if you're solo, it's a little bit different. But I mean, as a band, it just doesn't.
A lot of ways to split.
You're splitting that 4 ways. You're like, it has a $5,000 guarantee, and the bus costs $2,500, and then that doesn't count anything else.
Yeah.
So I think, it's a very difficult. And luckily, though, people push for it anyway. It's like it's so fun to watch.
Yeah.
I mean, I like this guy Medium Build.
Dude, big fan.
Yeah, and I just but I look at it, it's like doing this club stuff, and I'm like just slogging it. I'm like, that is. Because this guy can't do anything else, just like me, this guy, you know what I mean? Which I think
he has no choice. He has to do it.
Yeah, this is who he is. This is what's happening regardless of economics,
Yeah, and I feel like I don't know what it is about his music, but it just
I love it. It just
cuts
visual.
Me, man.
Yeah, it's like and
I don't know anything about his story or anything. I've just heard a couple of the songs, and it's very cool.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll run into him soon, but I just think I think there is great like art being made. I'm still excited about that. You run into people all the time. You're just like, what? Like, how did they do that?
Yeah.
The sad part is like, it's just not rewarded right now.
And
I hope that changes. I think it probably will. There'll probably be some way for it to change, but it just hasn't yet.
Yeah. It feels like it's, I don't know how to describe it. It just feels like the wheel is turning a little bit, and we're like, cause I think what's happening is we want that real stuff.
There's no doubt.
And so it's like kind of becoming, I don't know. It just feels like it's becoming
I've always
more
felt
popular.
like if you think of the way to get music to people, there's these funnels of like things you can do.
Yeah.
And as the business goes, the business is so slow to move to what people want.
Totally.
And it's always been that way. It's just like, I remember having these conversations 20 years ago with labels of like, well, they're not really buying records anymore. They're going to, it's like they just want to do this on Napster. Why don't we just do it on Napster? Like who, just go where they're at, what they want.
Right.
And that was so slow to move to that. And because of that, it wasn't great at this. And they spent all the time and money on this. And now that's like kind of like flaming out a little bit, especially for newer artists.
Totally.
Developing artists. Like this is not making good artists. This is making like TikTok hit things that don't last. And now that's not working for anybody really. And so like now it starts to, so it just like, I feel like the business like trails way behind the actual desire of the audience.
Yeah.
But I will say you wouldn't have, 10 years ago, probably 8 years ago, whatever it is. Like the Zach Bryan story wasn't there. Noah Kahn story wasn't there.
Correct.
Right. So you see like little, like, I don't know, somebody slipped through the cracks.
Yeah. Almost like offshoots.
And they make the next generation of the way the business, they will react.
Yeah.
And it'll allow for, younger artists to actually have a way to get to that. And like, that's so much of what we learned when we first started was like, the label would be like, you cannot play banjo on the radio. Right. It was like real. It was dead. It was like, look in our eyes, like they will not play this if you give me banjo, Wow. And then like, we had the record Outsiders, like we had this open tune banjo on it.
Yeah.
And then like a year later, Mumford and Sons comes out.
Right.
It's like now every track has the banjo on it, like it was just like, so I think that takes a while to learn as you're making your own music, that like, there aren't rules like that. That doesn't make any. I mean, it's not made.
Yeah,
no
you
sense.
can do whatever you want.
Yeah, and honestly, the person who does it first is going to be the one who wins. It's like, there. But I think that we like listened to that too much a little bit at first, and somehow on Outsiders, it's like I remember them just be like, well, that one's never going to radio.
Wow.
They were just very like,
yeah,
you can put it on there, but just so you know,
it's not going.
I'm like, wow.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being here today and for the time. I've really enjoyed. I think all the things you said about like, okay, well, we had the singles and now we had the record, and like just going your own way and kind of carving your own path is like stuff that I don't know. I hadn't thought about it in a while.
Yeah.
So I think it's really cool. I think it's really
that.
prescient.
Yeah.
We need that message right now.
Yeah. Well, and I'm not going to tell you it's the successful way to go. I don't know that that's true.
Yeah.
But it's certainly more. I can look back at the last 20 years and go, I'm proud of that. All the decisions we made like that.
Yeah.
Like I'm really proud of those.
Yeah. Do you have any advice you'd like if you were starting over, to younger you, like do you have anything you'd say?
I think it's simple. I think that listening to other people thing is very, it's two-edged, because you don't want to be somebody's blind to the truth.
Yeah.
A lot of times, like, a band is one tweak away from being successful, and they just can't see it. They you know what I mean? So I think but you have to be incredibly careful about the people you trust in that role. They better be an artist and not a moneymaker.
Yeah. That's
what I see. And you're going to need moneymakers around you. And if you're doing this, if you're a writer, or if you're a band, I don't care what, you need that person. But the person who's like the real artist, who knows your voice and knows what's great about you, find who those are, and then actually do listen to those people. Because they're encouraging kind of what you're trying to do. And then I think, like, the other thing is just, like, if you're an artist, it's the live experience is not about you in the bedroom on a microphone. Like, you tweaking out the algorithm is not going to be like what in 10 years, nobody's going to give a crap about that.
Yeah.
So, like, can you get in front of an audience and, like, create a reaction and create an experience with them, a relationship?
Yeah.
And can you then develop an audience that feels like they're in a relationship with you?
Yeah.
That's what lasts.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Of course, man. Thank you.
I appreciate it. That's it. That's the pod. See you later. All right, guys. Thanks so much for listening to this week's episode of 10 Year Town. If you want to follow along with the show, make sure you follow us on Instagram at 10 Year Town Pod. And you can find me, your host. I'm at Troy Cartwright, or send me an email, troy@10yeartown.com. We'll see you next week. Thanks.